Welcome on back to another video. My name's Jackal, and today we are jumping back into the wild and wonderful and wacky world, back into the world of Team Fortress 2. How many times can I say world in one word sentence? Let's world find out. Today, joining back up with Mr. Soundsmith to take a look at the medic weapon stereotypes. And if some of you may have seen, I've started to play the game a lot more on my channel now. I've played all the classes at this point, or at least I certainly hope so. But definitely one that I've played the least so far is the medic. So hopefully with this stereotype video, I can learn what's good, what's bad, who's an asshole, who isn't. I know they're stereotypes. I know it's a joke. Okay, big dog? I'm well aware. Okay, you ready? Are you ready? I love you. You look great. Let's go.
Oh, medic.
Oh,
man, where do I even start with this guy? I mean, you've got a complete and total psychopath in a support role. That kind of seems like a recipe for disaster, and honestly, it kind of is. Medic mains are notorious for being a mixed bag. You could get a super nice guy one moment and then have a complete asshole the next.
You know, I'm noticing a trend here that seems to be across the board when it comes to a lot of TF2 characters. Because I don't think it's anything tied to the character specifically. I think at this point, it's the gamers. I think it's the gamer boys that are the ones doing it. Love you, gamers, but let's keep this party started. Let's keep it started. Let's keep it rolling.
Never really know, but you might be able to know if you take a look at his weapons. Actually, you know what? Not really. Okay, hang on. You know what? Full stop. Stop. Right. I know you guys have heard this a million times before, but apparently people are still taking these things as gospel. So,
Jesus.
I'm doing the disclaimer thing again. Stereotypes don't mean everyone. Like, I know you've heard that so many times, but I'm serious. This series is meant to poke fun at the assumptions that people make. Don't make those same assumptions because some ginger idiot from Texas said so in a satirical series.
Shout out, Ginger.
Seriously, stop. Just... Okay. Are we okay?
Gingers?
I'm sorry. I had to get that out because people are still taking these seriously.
Please don't.
Start the music. Start the episode. Let's go.
Still, I hope my one hope is that since this video is so old, I hope that people still aren't, like it's already, I think it was probably enough at the time, but now that it's, like 7 years after it's been released, I still hope people aren't taking this seriously, even though half the people in the comments that watch me react to this do think I'm the one taking it seriously. But guys, they're stereotypes. They're stereotypes. I'm sorry, that was gross. This is primary.
The syringe gun is actually kind of okay. If you can aim it, it does pretty decent damage. That said, it's really underused by experienced players because the crossbow just exists. Its regen is really good when comparing it to the Blutsauger, and it can be a decent tool to deter people from chasing you, but at the end of the day, people who use this really fall into one of three categories. New player, times 10 enthusiast, or hipster who insists that it's an underrated weapon and refuses to use the meta out of principle. This is the second most common primary. You'll see it used somewhat often, but not too much. Basically, this guy is either a battle medic, in which case just give up trying to get heals from him, just like unbind your EQ, dude, it's not gonna happen. Or a guy who doesn't trust his team or his pocket in the slightest. It's the go-to weapon for the situation that I like to call the for fuck's sake there's
a scout in my face and my team isn't even turning around again. You know what? Fine, I'll do it myself. Screw you guys. Raise your hand if you ever said that one before. Not in regards to TF2 specifically, but Jesus. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. I know you said it. Oh, holy moly. Never mind.
There's a scout in my face and my team isn't even turning around. Again. You know what? Fine. I'll do it myself. Screw you guys.
I like the gold version, though. The gold version. The crossbow. Okay.
This is a part of the meta, so basically everyone uses this. Funnily enough, I have found that as useful as this is, as good as it can be with a coordinated team, it's not nearly as god tier in pubs as everyone says it is. Or maybe that's just because I suck with it, I don't know. When you see a crossbow medic in a pub, he's either a clutch god who nails 150 health cross-map arrows constantly, or he's that one guy who can't actually aim it, but insists on using it for the burst healing and faster Uber build, except, you could have built 20% already while you've been standing here missing me at point blank, and now I'm dead. Okay, thanks, man.
So, is that like kind of similar thing to God, I don't even think there's anything comparable to that. Like if you hit, it's like a Ana primary, where if you hit your teammates with it, it heals because clearly, like when the soldier was parachuting, the medic shot the crossbow bolt into him, and it did 125 health. But I'm assuming he also didn't show any footage of hitting enemies with it, so I'm assuming that if you hit your enemies, it also does damage. It probably doesn't do 125 damage because that seems a little busted, but still, that's actually pretty cool. This one looks like somebody MacGyvered a gun together. That one's concerning with the little, like, the heart emergency box.
Oh man, I'm so fast. Too fast, too quick. Oh, look at I'm going so fast. You can't hit me, I'm invincible. Except not really, because that 20% buff really isn't all that much. And it only happens when you have really high Uber and you have your primary out, meaning you're probably using it to try and escape. This weapon would be way, way better if the speed buff was passive, but as it stands, it's pretty useless. Most people who want more survivability use the Blutsauger, so if you see this weapon out, there's a very good chance that they either don't take the game seriously and are just messing around, or they are completely clueless and they probably don't even know what game they're playing.
That was a man. He just whipped out a man. He just had a man in his hand. That was a lot of man. So that one, you get a speed buff. But you also take more damage. I think I read that right. I don't know. Some medic main in the comments will probably actually, the overdose is often highly overlooked. I don't know. I'm trying to learn. Okay, I'm sorry. Jesus.
Once again, this is a part of the meta. Pretty much everyone has used this at some point, and for good reason. It's just really good. Ubercharge is really good. And honestly, it's tough to pin down a medic going off of this alone. I mean, you can usually assume that they're only playing medic because nobody else will play them, and they spread heals fairly evenly, but they'll favor those with fancy hats and weapons. So, you know, basically your typical medic.
This medic undoubtedly has a soldier boyfriend with an expensive, unusual, and a full professional killstreak set. He uses the Chris Krieg because he's gotten so familiar with the game that he doesn't actually care about playing it smart anymore. He just wants to pub stomp and ruin people's days. Each one of those sweet crit kill assists fuels his ego more and more. He's so used to facing basically no adversity after his thousands of hours in TF2 that when there is any legitimate competition, he blames the game for being bad or unbalanced just because he can't get his 25 kill streak. And by this medic, I mean me. I do this.
Oh, that guy's voice is like, that guy's voice made me feel some type of way, dude.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be, I think.
This guy will spread heals very evenly, surprisingly. This is usually the Medigun that gets used when his team really isn't that great, and they're taking too much damage to heal with any of the other Mediguns. So I guess this also fits into the
Nutty Buddy headshot 3 bitches in a row. Okay. Sure, go off, I guess. Quick fix. I'm gonna read in between the lines here. It kind of heals quicker. I'm assuming. Yes? No? Maybe so?
I don't trust my team to keep me safe category of medic weapons. It's also a very useful anti-pyro weapon since you get immunity from knockback with the Uber. Surprisingly, not many people know about this, and killing an air blast happy pyro with this will very often lead to accusations, which are always fun.
Oh, those are always good. What is that?
Hello, Vaccinator. Otherwise known as the anti-cheater weapon, there are generally 2 distinct stereotypes that follow this weapon, the newbie and the veteran. The newbie is that player who's real new to the game and just got the Vaccinator from a drop. This player goes into this weapon completely clueless. You'll see them either indefinitely stuck on the bullet resistance because they don't know how the weapon works, or they just straight up don't know what the key to switch resistances is. If these players do know how to switch resistances, they usually have a response time as slow as a times 10 brass beast heavy trying to move. Now, the other kind of player you can see is absolutely terrifying with the Vaccinator. This kind of medic has experience with the class and the weapon. They have split-second reaction time in switching and activating resistances. They stack up the charges, charge into an enemy team with his allies, and will basically never die if it's a bullet, an explosion, or fire. Go Spy or Demo Knight to take care of these guys, cause chances are your pub team won't be able to coordinate well enough to gang up on the medic and overwhelm them. If it's not one of those stereotypes though, it could also just be some friend of a cheater pocketing his impeccable, never miss, snapping sniper pal to dominate and annoy the rest of the server. Those guys are dicks.
Oh, I understood that one. I understood that one. That was a lot of words. That was a lot of words, and I don't know if I heard all of them or listened to all of them. So, from what I garnered, that one you can switch resistances to ammo types, I think. Oh boy, the vaccinator. All right, I'm probably not gonna use that one, big dog. I'll stick with an Uber. That sounds good to me. Yes, good. Radio broadcast coming to you live from TF2. From TF2 Central.
We're now here at the live premiere of Medic Weapon Stereotypes, where everybody's excited to hear the stereotype for the stock bone saw. Everybody knows the obvious joke to make in this situation, but nobody knows if Soundsmith is gonna make it. I'm on the edge of my seat, Peter.
I couldn't agree more, Rob. Soundsmith has an incredibly strong season as a professional obvious joke maker, but given some of his past seasons, I'm not sure he's gonna pull through.
Well, it looks like we're about to find out.
Okay.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Array 7.
He did it! He actually
He
did
made
it!
the Array 7 joke. I can't believe it.
I don't know what that means. That one's lost on me. Hopefully I'll understand that one in the future. I guess, I don't know.
Really though, there is a reason this weapon has achieved legendary meme status as the useless stock weapon. There is no reason to use it over the Ubersaw outside of I'm just dicking around in a pub. Like, at least the amputator is somewhat useful in a very specific situation, and the Vitasaw is supposedly getting a rework in the next update, but this weapon is just, like, man.
It's just, I mean, it's stock.
This is
like,
a great
what do you
weapon to
expect?
use when your team can't protect you at all. It sees pretty frequent use in pubs, which are notorious for this. At the end of the day, though, it's pretty...
Also, we're noting that this weapon is banned in multiple competitive leagues since Uber is a huge deal in competitive TF2. I can't comment further on that since I'm not involved in that scene at all. Me neither. But again, I'm here. Jackal, you won't even be able to comprehend the difficulty of using the Vitasaw in the competitive tournaments.
bad compared to Medic's other melee options. I should also mention that it's getting a rework on the coming update, which might change things. The new organ harvesting mechanic seems really cool, but I bet it's one of those things where we won't know for...
This motherfucker say organ harvesting? Did this motherfucker say organ harvesting? Oh.
Sure how good it is until we try it ourselves. So I guess if you see a medic with the Vitasaw, he probably doesn't trust his team at all, and he's also running the Blutsauger and the Quick Fix.
And there's the man!
I haven't used this weapon too much, so I'm not really in a position to say how good of a weapon this is, and how big of a buff the whole seeing enemies health thing is. One thing I've noticed though is that the people who use the solid...
You ever just beat someone with a dude? You know? Like, if the whole team was jumping, like, would you just beat off a bunch of dudes with a dude? All right, hold up, pause, whoa, whoa, play the video,
will always swear by it as a viable alternative to the Ubersaw. Even though basically everyone disagrees with them, they'll stick to their guns no matter what, which is actually kind of respectable. This weapon just makes me sad. Like, it's such an interesting weapon concept, and the AoE healing thing seems like it could be huge if it wasn't just completely overshadowed by the Ubersaw. In order for a medic to be effective with this, he needs to be in a safe spot so he can taunt and have lots of hurt teammates near him. It's a common choice to see in medieval mode and maps with hilariously bad choke points like Hoodoo and Dust Bowl, but at the end of the day, it's just really situational. And in that very specific situation, it's awesome, but everywhere else, it's just, eh. This guy is a slave to and will look down upon anyone using any other melee weapon. I mean, after all, who could compete with the superior Ubersaw master race? Clearly everyone else is inferior. I mean, if we're being honest, there is a reason that this weapon has achieved its nearly unanimous use rate. That 25% Uber is a huge deal, so it makes sense why so many people use it. But still, it'd be nice to have a melee that could at least compete with it. Also, it's worth noting that the random crit rate on this thing is absolutely ridiculous. Every time you think you have a medic cornered, he whips out this thing and bam, random crit. You sneak up behind him, he notices you and bam, random crit. It's gotten to the point where you have to assume that every time a medic swings this weapon, it's going to be a crit. Except when you're the medic and you were about to do something really cool, and then it never crits.
Oh.
Well, that's all the weapons for medic.
Oh, brother. Oh, brother Soundsmith. Oh, that would have been so cool, dude. I don't know how the medic, like, rocket jumped or whatever, because last time I checked all the weapons that we just seen, there was no rocket jumping capabilities, but I'm certain somebody will tell me in the comments down below. Speaking of which, if you have any other reactions you would like to see your boy react to, make sure you leave them down there. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel, my friend, as it helps out small YouTubers like me a ton, because once we hit 5,000 subscribers, we will watch Emesis Blue in its entirety. Make it happen, baby. 5K Emesis Blue reaction. But until that point happens, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. I'll see you in the next one. Love you, bye.